Heed my call.
Hey guys.
Storm, earth, and fire.
Okay. Enough storm, enough earth, and enough fire. Now let's talk strength stacking. So this is my version, my iteration of the build. I have already showed you guys this build in, I think, 2 videos before. This is going to be probably the last one. I think I am kind of done with changing around stuff in this character, and I think I finally have the kind of optimal, or let's just say my favorite setup for this build. So this is a strength stacking build, so it is built around stacking a lot of strength and have a lot of flat chaos damage with the replica Abraham's Warpath, and then a bunch of different interaction with the Iron Fortress, with the Crown of Ice, and the Iron Will. So basically, strength is going to give this character flat chaos damage from replica Alberon's Warpath. It is going to give you spell damage per strength, which is going to be converted into attack damage at 150% of the value. So the strength damage bonus is already 3% due to Crusader Plate per 10 strength. That is then converted with Iron Will to spell damage, and that is going to be multiplied by 1.5 times basically with Crown of Ice. And basically we have a lot of increased damage with stacking a lot of strength. That along with this GG amulet for strength stacking build, I'm having 2 additional % damage per strength. So this results in a very, very well-rounded character. This character is very, very tanky. It's not going to be like face tanking everything that there is in the game, basically. However, in the majority of the lifetime of this character, as I played with it, it has not died too much. Most of the slams of the Ubers will kill the character. However, beside from that, sometimes a very rippy mod from tier 17 can kill the character, and sometimes in Valdo's map, some certain combination of things can kill the character as well. However, because of the way the character is set up defensively, it is very, very well equipped to deal with basically every single kind of damage that is available in the game at the moment. Especially the elemental damage, which is the majority of the danger in the game. If let's just say the percentage of elemental damage that is dangerous in the game is the highest compared to the other ones. This character has around 25k 25k max hit pool for physical, and very high for chaos and elemental. I am abusing the Divine Flesh keystone, so I have 50% of elemental damage taken as chaos damage. This includes all the damage, and also I am using Purity of Lightning, Watcher's Eye, to convert 20% of fire and cold to lightning, and Sublime Vision for Purity of Lightning as well to convert the 30% of fire and cold. So with this 2 jewels and this 1 keystone, I am not taking any cold or any fire damage at all. They are all converted into half lightning and half chaos. And the lightning damage itself got converted, half of it to chaos as well. So I am having currently 90% lightning resistances, so all the damage incoming will be mitigated by 90% lightning resistances, and I'm also having 81% chaos resistant. Why don't I push for 90%? Well, it's not really necessary, because the dangerous thing about damage that the monster can kind of kill your character mostly comes from penetration or max resistant minus. Mostly penetration. That is the most common thing in the game. And if you convert a type of damage to another one, normally, let's just say you take a fire hit. If the fire hit, let's just say the balls from Searing Exarch, for the Uber Exarch you see in the previous fight that I show in the video, it deals fire damage. And so what comes with it is fire penetration. And if you convert, in this case, 100% of fire damage to chaos and lightning already, the fire penetration basically do nothing. Let's just say if you have 90% fire resistant, if the enemy have 20% penetration, that means your 90% resistant be reduced to 70%. So if you take 10 damage, because 100 damage, that mitigation from 90, so you take 10, when it comes to 70% resistance, you take instead 30 damage. So comparatively, it is 3 times the damage effectively. So that is why the conversion of damage taken is very, very strong in this game. Most of it, right? In this case, the character sheet here, I don't have any charges, but because I am a marauder, I almost always have endurance charges up, right? And because I have, very, very good charge generation with unflinching, I even use Immortal Call. And as you can see, sometimes in the Uber Exarch fight, if the Immortal Call proc, that moment my character is basically immortal, so I basically takes no damage. I take a very tiny amount of damage, but that got like recover immediately, right? This character have instant life leech because I have Serves Masterwork. This is the difference thing from all the other strength stacking character around. I don't see anyone use this one yet, beside myself. Serves Masterwork, I am using it with chaos damage with hits is lucky, which is extremely strong modes when you combine it with the Auron's Warpath strength stacking, as you have a very high gap from lowest to high, from low end to high end in the attack damage number, 1 to 80 here per 80 strength, right? So damage with hit is lucky. The damage roll twice and take the higher number is extremely strong. Socketed Vaal skill have 100% reduced soul gain prevention. This allow me to have the playstyle of Earthquake of Amplification, not Earthquake of Amplification. You can just use a normal Earthquake. Vaal Earthquake is the main thing that we are using here. Sometimes I play around with Earthquake Amplification, but it doesn't matter really. Mostly just Earthquake, Vaal Earthquake. So you have no soul gain prevention, and I am using also Hate Forge. This is also different from most strength stacking because if you don't use a Vaal skill, Hate Forge doesn't do anything. But in this case, I want permanent uptime on Earthquake, Vaal Earthquake, so I use Hate Forge. I just need to generate a little bit of rage through either Seal Charge or Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. It is linked in Hate Forge itself, so it is linked to a level 30 Rage and a bunch of Rage on hit on my passive skill tree. Let me show you here. Just these 2 points basically give me enough Rage whenever I enter a new zone, new map. I just slam like once or twice. I have enough Rage, and then I put on Vaal Earthquake, and I just basically run through the map. The change from my previous video is I am trying to mess around with Earthquake Amplification because it does have damage scaling with the duration, with more duration you have. And as you see here, if you take a look at the number, Aftershock deals more than 12,000%, not 12,000, but 1,200% more damage with hits, which is a massive, massive number. It is achieved because I linked it to moderation. So I am trying to have like a bunch of quality of life for the Vaal Earthquake because I think the character is strong enough to handle basically any content in the game. As you can see, I also showcased a Uber fight and earlier a Valdo's map with the Feared in it, and I handle it pretty well. So I spent a couple of skill points into more duration. These allow my Vaal Earthquake to last for a whopping 33 seconds. So basically every minute I only need to press the Vaal Earthquake twice. And if you run, let's just say if you run something like a Strand, for example, or you are doing a boss rushing in tier 17, that is a valid strategy, by the way. If you are doing things like that, you just run through the map, then maybe you can just get into the map, slam the Volcanic Fissure of Snaking once or twice, get the Vaal Earthquake going, and with the more than 30-second duration of Vaal Earthquake, you can just run through the map and just basically finish the map, get to the boss, and in this case, weapon swap into a two-handed sword here for massive single target with Molten Strike of the Zenith, right? This is a very, very expensive character. If you want to start out like in the budget, I would say it is not really possible because the Vaal skill, Runesmith, Enchant is very expensive itself. You don't really need the Mage Blood for the build to function, however, it is very strong. You don't need the Simplex Amulets, which basically is 3 times the price of the Mage Blood. Uh, but you know, it is very strong, right? I think you got the idea. This build really shine with high budget, but you can't play it with lower budget. The like bare requirement, I would say, is the Socketed Vaal skill, reduce soak-in prevention in the weapon, which is kind of expensive. I think it is 15 power rune or something. Yeah. So it is linked to Void Manipulation because we are pure chaos damage. Volatility because we have massively high gap between max and min damage. Shockwave support for extra clear with Vaal Earthquake. It feels way, way, way different. Way better than if you don't use Shockwave. I highly recommend you use Shockwave here. More duration for, well, more duration. And Pulverize because we don't care about attack speed. We just benefit from the massive area of effect and also massive more melee damage. So yeah, this is Vaal Earthquake, and in the other 6 link, I am linking Molten Strike of the Zenith. Awakened Multi-Strike. Technically, by the way, Awakened Multi-Strike is, you know, in paper more damage. However, it is also higher ramping time for Molten Strike of Zenith because mechanically this skill, every 5th attack fire 5 additional projectile, and also the projectile deal 1000% more damage. It is 5 repeated if you link multi-strike to this, so it is a total of 5 times 4 because the skill repeat 3 times plus 1 normal attack, and so that is like 20 total attacks before you reach the basically 5th very high damage attack from Molten Strike of the Zenith. If you watch the boss fight closely, you will see very easily that the damage kind of like take a ramp. It do like relatively medium damage and then it spiked up very heavily. That is the 5th attack from Molten Strike of the Zenith. Awaken Greater Multi if you can. Normal one is okay. Void Manipulation, same story. Volatility, and Fortify in this case. I think Fortify is probably the best skill here because in this form, right, I am using a hammer, one-handed mace, and that allow me to get Fortify from the Overlord, no, from the Cluster Jewel here. But if I switch to a two-handed sword, it is not a mace, staff, or scepter, so I cannot get Fortify there, and so I think Fortify is actually like the best link here. It does give a little bit more damage. 20% is like half of a normal multiplier from one support skill gem, but also it gives basically 20% less damage taken from hits, which allow me to tank a lot of things and just stand there, ramp up, and face tank and kill, you know, the bosses. I would say that the weapon swap here is only necessary if you want to quickly kill tier 17 bosses, Valdo bosses, or Uber bosses. Other than that, everything that is below tier 17, like strong monster in tier 17, you can just do Vaal Earthquake and walk around for like 1 or 2 seconds and everything. Map bosses, rares will just die. If you do some crazy Titanic strategy, obviously it is like tank. Sometimes they are even tankier than Ubers. Then maybe you need to bust out the Molten Strike of Zenith for them as well. After like probably 1-2 hours play with this, I'm already used to the weapon swap thingy, so it's not a big deal for me. But you know, just get it out there, right? I want everyone who want to play this build to be aware of the fact that I am using weapon swap to deal single target damage, heavy single target damage, but it's not necessary most of the time, right? The rest of the links in the helmet, I am putting my aura in a +2 aura gem. If you don't have the +2, it doesn't matter because without Purity of Lightning level 23, I'm still, I think right now I am like 92% maximum lightning resistance. So if I put like even a level 10 purity of lightning in here, I already capped at 90%. So it's not a problem at all. The increased effect of cold element is actually a little bit helpful because we are using a maze while mapping, right? And there is a I think I even take that out. So before I take the Mace Mastery to get the old damage with Scepter chill, but in the last version of the build where I made some changes, I decided to remove it. I decided to go for precise technique instead of going up here and get the crit stuff. I think precise technique is just going to be better. So yeah, basically the implicit for the corrupted is nothing. Don't worry about it. 48% increased damage is basically nothing. We have like thousands and thousands of increased damage from the strength interaction with Iron Will, with Crown of Ice, and with Iron Fortress. So this 48% is basically nothing. Level Duration Gem doesn't do anything as well. All these gems are like utility. Some of them are even level 1, like Forbidden Rite is level 1, Baromage's Cry, we don't need level Despair. Level 2 level is like 1% extra resistant, so whatever. Auto Exertion, obviously don't need level. So I would say that the best implicit for the Iron Fortress here is probably 6% life, and then maybe 50% reduced crit damage taken. That also can be helpful to avoid one shot like almost entirely, because you cannot really be one shot without taking a crit. And in this build, I am dealing with crit by using Soul Solaris. So when I take a crit recently, most of the time is in maps with critical strike mods, then I cannot take crit for the next 4 seconds. So basically, it makes me immune to crit while mapping, except for the first hit that I take. So sometimes this is not like reliable 100% of the time, it's only like 99%. So if you want to reduce the damage you take from the very first crit, like that, you can have 50% reduced crit damage from the Iron Fortress. That is going to be the best one. For Auron Warpath, this also is nothing. The implicit is nothing. I just want to double corrupt it. The best one is obviously 1 maximum endurance charges. You don't need a second one. Maybe some move speed is okay, some armor, whatever. Yeah, we don't care about that. Mostly if you want to like have the real high-end stuff, this is going to be +1 endurance charge. This thing, duration gem, AoE gem, this just doesn't really do anything. I think the best one is also just minus crit damage taken as well. If you have like 30% from here, or 25 to 30% from here, 50% from here, you can take a mastery in the skill tree, which is going to be this mastery over here for 30% reduced crit damage. Then you will be immune to crit, right? So if you can have the corruption from the shield and the body armor, you can just be immune to crit like 100% of the time. That is very nice. But I think in the current state, the character is already good enough. The weapon, by the way, is dirt cheap without any of the enchantment. However, with the enchantment are very expensive. In this case, these are the 3 best. The priority is chaos damage with hit is lucky. If you don't have money, that is the first one you go for, is also the cheapest. It allows you to play with other skill, like let's just say Volcanic Fissure of Sneaking is going to be my choice. Mechanically very strong skill, just use it will breeze through everything in the game anyway. You don't need to have this exact setup, just get the chaos damage with hits is lucky is going to be enough. If you want to experience the playstyle of Vaal Earthquake, then you need the Vaal skill, have no Sovereign Prevention as the second enchantment, and then in the end Life Leech from hit is instant. That is like the end game version. That is when you need it. I play for a lot of time without it. because I cannot decide which one. But then I realized instant life leech here is super strong, because unlike Vaal Pack, it doesn't prevent you from regenning, recouping, or other sources of life recovery basically are still viable with the enchantment. So super strong. For the rings, if you want to look for high-end stuff, look for strength, life, some resistances, mirrored, which is reflected by the reflecting mist if possible, and get something like this, I would say. But something like this is also very nice. Keep in mind that in this case, I am not the one nice thing about this defensive setup of converting all cold and fire damage to other kind of damage is I don't care about the resistances, so it is easier to find things like this one. A lot of strength, just a lot of stat. Strength is king here. Nothing else really matter, right? Just try to cap the resistances. I am using a Mage Blood for a very obvious reason. It is the most reliable, extremely powerful item. My flask to go along with it is Amethyst for a lot of chaos resistant, Topaz for a lot of lightning resistant. It is very nice because we actually use a lot of unique gear. So if you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is pretty much a unique gear as well. So 8, let's just say. So the only sources of resistance that you can have is pretty much from 2 rings, and you want a lot of strength from it. So reflected ring is desired, and that means resistance is very hard to get on it as well. So yeah, Mage Blood is just the best for this one. So you can have 100% uptime of the very strong flask here. Also give you a lot of maximum lightning resistance. Quartz flask is going to help me cap my spell suppression. It is giving me 19% suppress. Also, it gives me permanent phasing, which is extremely nice for Vaal Earthquake, because you want to go walk through enemies basically. So being phasing means you don't get blocked by enemies. The silver flask here is for some extra movement speed, because onslaught is also increased effect, and some extra attack speed as well, because we sometimes switch to motion strike or zenith. If you want real speed, just high speed, just get quicksilver instead. So mapping will be much better. This only is good for single target. Quicksilver is going to be better in all other cases, because for Vaal Earthquake, the faster you move, the more damage you deal, basically. Is there anything else? Oh, in the additional gem setup here is shield charge for faster attack for movement, life tap, because I don't want to spend mana on it, and Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. This is like a quality of life gem that I put in here, so every time I enter a new zone, let me just show one more time when I enter a new zone. What I will do is I find a backup enemy, slam once with Volcanic Fissure of Snaking, slam twice, and by then you have the Vaal Earthquake going, and you can just shield charge through basically. Let's just imagine this is like a Strand map, or a Maze of Minotaur, you know, any kind of linear map that you can just run around. If you see the duration of the Vaal Earthquake, you will see that I still have like 10 seconds and 1 aftershock here. And yeah, I run through the whole zone without pressing the Vaal Earthquake the second time. So, you know, you got the idea. In the skill tree, the Timeless Jewel here is for Divine Flesh, so it is Sibakwa. I am trying to find a bunch of Wither, so I have like permanent Wither from these nodes, right? I think I can have like very nice nodes here as well if I decided to invest in this. Other than that, the build is still the same, I think. There is an additional Megalomaniac in the build here because I sniped this one. But if you don't snipe a nice Megalomaniac like this, weight advantage, give me 30% damage with mace, and 20 strength, and 4% double damage. and Wall of Muscle, 5% strength, 6% life. And in this case, for 1 point, I have basically 8% life here, so I will take it as well. 8% life for 1 point is a good deal. So yeah, maybe I will take this, but technically, right? If you really want to, you can just have these 7 points, right? You can have 1, 2, and 3 here for either 1 armor per 2 strength or take 30% less extra damage from critical strike. You can also invest into 1, 2, 3, 4 points here. Each point is extremely efficient. 6% damage and 5% life. Very efficient. Also, strength point here is very nice as well. You can take those options, right? Or you can go here 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4 attack speed, 3, 10% life and regen, 3 movement speed is okay, and you know, armor and fist reduction, things like that. So there's a lot of strong things that you can have for, you know, the extra point. You can still have like 6% life nodes here. You can have things like fortify stuff here is also nice. Rage is also very nice because these 3%, this is 3% more damage basically for single target. So yeah, in this case, I think because I sniped this Megalomaniacs with advantage and Wall of Muscle, so I choose to go for this. But without this Megalomaniac, I don't think it is necessary for you to go for, you know, an additional cluster jewel here. There's a lot of things that you can take. And that is everything I want to share with you in this video today. So let me know if you still play the league. That is going to be, I think, very rare, because from my experience so far, I see on trade there's not a lot of people left compared to, let's say, like a few weeks ago or maybe 1 month ago. There are far less people still playing, but this build is part of the reason why I still play the game, because it is very enjoyable. It can do everything. It can just basically face roll all the content in the game. I think it's probably the build of the league for me personally, even though I really love the playstyle of the cast when stun AFK character. However, in terms of versatility and strength, you know, unironically a strength stacking build, this build is just way stronger, way better overall. So yeah, if you still play, if you have some money to burn, if you want to spend, if you want to like have a very well-rounded build to finish the challenges or things like that, I've kind of finished my challenge goal as well. I don't want to go 40-40, but I have 36 out of 40, which means I already have enough to get all the MTX from the challenges, and that is going to be it for me. I don't need to grind anymore. So yeah, if you want to finish the challenges, this build, this character can do everything. Everything, literally. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. It is long enough, and you know, I hope to see you next time. Stay hyped for POE 2. Peace. By the way, my camera broke, so you will not see my face for a while. Let me quickly turn on the camera and you will see. I don't think it can even register. I already turned on the camera in the recording software, but it just doesn't show up. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching again. See you in the next video. Peace.